the rain. It's a heavy downpour tonight. And Sam is exhausted from working all week. The rain is just not stopping tonight. Not even by a little bit. Sam walks up to his car, opens the door, and sits in. He is absolutely exhausted from working all week. He throws his bag at the back seat, loses his tie, and thinks to himself that he cannot wait to get home to his country house, where he can finally get some peace and quiet time to himself with his family. He turns on the car engine and turns on the car radio. Sam works in the city, but lives in a remote country house. He starts driving off. As he's listening to his usual classic radio with classical music, there's a news flash that a thunderstorm is on its way. And it's going to cause havoc tonight. And Sam thinks to himself that he needs to get home as soon as he can. After the news flash of the thunderstorm, there's another news flash that a murder has taken place in the city. And the man has been found brutally murdered in his own house. His wife is currently missing, and so is his car. This shakes Sam up completely. And from being all tired from all week, he suddenly wakes up to full alert and listens into the radio. The news state that the wife is currently a suspect, as she is nowhere to be found. Sam now is out of the city lights on a long country narrow road, driving towards his house. His wipers are going left, right, left, right. He can barely see what's ahead of him because of the rain and the darkness. The only light is whatever is coming from his headlights. Listening to classical music. Then all of a sudden Sam sees, not too far away, two red lights of the back of a car and a figure waving at him. As he gets close and close, he sees is a lady waving down his car. He stops by, rolls down his window in the rain, and asks, what is she doing in the middle of nowhere? And the lady says her name is Laura, and she was actually driving to her own house who also lives in the country, but a car has broken down. And if Sam would be ever so kind to drop her off at the next petrol station so she can call for breakdown services to come and fix her car, as there's no mobile signal. Sam, as a nice person he was, agrees and asks her to sit in the car, and he will take her to the next petrol station. She sits in the car and they both drive off, talking about the storm, talking about the classical music Sam was listening to. And after a while, they get to the petrol station and she gets out the car. She says if she can just take 5 more minutes of his time just to make sure that the services for breakdown will definitely come, as she didn't want to be stranded alone in the petrol station with nobody else apart from the cashier. She goes in and Sam agrees to stay for a little while. And while he's waiting for her, he turns on the radio again and he hears another news flash that the suspect who's wanted by the police is driving a classic car, which is a yellow car, has blonde hair, is wearing red clothes, with full detailed description. And all of a sudden, Sam's heart stops in a panic, because the lady he's just picked up matches the description. The car she was driving matches that description. She is inside and he's about to go. In a panic, he hears a loud gunshot sound. And this lady comes out right in front of him, holding the gun to Sam and telling him not to move. Her red clothes are a little more darker now, as she has blood on them. And she's holding some cash and gets into the car, points the gun towards Sam, and tells him that she needs to get changed. And as Sam told her, he has a wife and kids. She tells him to take her to his house so she can get changed to his wife's clothes, takes his car, and she promises she would not hurt anybody. Sam is really, really scared by this time, because he knows she's just killed the cashier and she could do anything. And Sam begs her not to force him to take her to his house. But she tells him if he doesn't, she would kill him there and then. And he begs and pleads her not to kill him because he has family. He drives off while the gun being pointed at him. They get to his drive. She orders him to get out of the car, While walking behind him, she tells him to open the main door. They walk in and pushes them inside the house. And she orders Sam to wake his family up. And by this time, the huge storm has finally come. The trees are falling outside. The rain is getting louder. She tells Sam to wake his family up, to get them down. She yells for the family to come down. But nobody wakes up, as they're all sleeping. Sam tells her, please take the car, take more money, but just leave us alone. But she wouldn't. Sam tells her, the only thing that matters right now is for her to leave them alone. And the lady asks Sam where his radio is, as she wanted to get an update on the storm, so she can decide when she can leave. Sam turns the radio on, and as usual, for that night, what everybody in all the news channels were talking about was this murder. And the police, as the news now confirm, have actually found the husband's wife's body near the woods where their house were. She's been killed the same way as her husband. And this actually shocks Sam. If they have found the wife, then who is this lady standing in front of him, who matches the same description as the wife of the murdered husband? The police then state that their car is missing, and the registration number is EG11MVF. The lady holding the gun looks out the window, and from the light coming out of Sam's living room, sees the number plate on Sam's car. It's the same car that Sam has been driving all along. Her legs started to feel weak, and she's about to faint. And in that panic, Sam holds her, gets his knife out and kills her, slashing her throat. And she falls to the floor, because Sam was a serial killer who's been working all week in the city, killing couples. And he finally wanted some rest. So when he got in the car in the beginning, He threw his killing kit in the back seat with his knife set. Got into the couple's car. Just wanted to come home to some nice peace and quiet. But this lady had to disturb his peace. The end. Or maybe not. Sam never had a family. There was nobody else in that house. It's always been Sam. It's always been Sam.